Thank you so much. And with that, I invite Mr. Kunal Satyarthi. Sir, are you able to hear us?
Yes, I am able to hear you. I'm extremely sorry for the delay. I was told that the keynote speaker is speaking.
Oh, yeah. No, that's not an issue at all, sir. We have a very patient audience here as well. So whenever you're ready, then maybe we can start the discussion.
Okay, sure. So thank you. Thanks for this invitation, and thanks to the team at the conference, India Land and Development Conference. I think I'm extremely sorry at the onset to not being able to present myself there, although I had promised to the organizer. Thanks to Pranav for reposing the trust despite the problems that are there here in the government offices. But thanks for the opportunity to talk to you. I was told there are more than 350 participants in this conference, and a lot of participants have come from abroad, including the speakers. And I was looking at the day 1, day 2, and day 3 schedule, and the kind of topics that have been covered looked enormous. So I know the audience and the participants must have gone through extremely heavy dose of topics on land administration, on land records, and also on everything that happens on land, including common property resources, rooted resilience. I was seeing the topic Forest Rights Act. I think my colleague and senior Alok Nagar has spoken about Swamitva program and Panchayati Raj. So it looks like a full 3 days of deliberation that have happened. I would like to just congratulate the organizers on successful organization of this conference at Pune, Flame University. But having said that, what I like to highlight from my ministry and department are a few points which I like to speak for the next 10-15 minutes. And if it is possible, I like to take some questions, but it is towards the end of the day. But in the Department of Land Resources, as you're all aware, or if someone not aware, last 15 years of efforts have gone into various kind of strategies and programs. And initially, the program was started in 2008. It was called the NLRMP program, so National Land Records Modernization Program. It had various components. It started slowly, picked up, and had various contributions that it offered. In 2016, this was converted into a digital under the Digital India program. It was converted into a DI-LRMP program, as we call it. 2 more components were added. I'll elaborate the components and the progress, and I'll also highlight the journey we are going to take shortly, already taking in the Department of Land Resources. So one of the main components that was added in the second phase of the LNP was consent-based Aadhaar integration and authentication with the record of rights and cadastral maps. The second important parameter that was also kind of highlighted and added was looking at various integrations. So what happened in the NLRMP program and the LMP program was a very important work, very important piece of work. We can't deny those work, but one of the major factors that happened was all the record of rights, whether you call it FMBs, Field Measurement Book, or TIPPAN, or cadastral map, or village survey map, they were all digitized. Now, they were all digitized and also vectorized, and those large traditional maps were kept in modern record rooms. So 2 important components, a lot of progress. It took a lot of time to start, a lot of time, because land is a state subject. It is not a subject by the central government. We did push. My predecessor here on this chair have pushed this program, and we have been successfully been able to do all the digitization and vectorization of all the cadastral maps. And there's so much variation in the country. As I talk about this, the place we are sitting in Maharashtra, you have the phenomena of village survey map, and then you have phenomena of field measurement books, and they call it TIPPAN. While this phenomena is not prevalent anything about Narmada, if you move north, there are no TIPPAN's phenomena. But in the mountains, phenomena has become different in the same that the same record of rights will have 10 brothers as owners and 10 cadastral maps inserted into the same record of rights. So a lot of variations. But in spite of all those variations, over a period of time, the Bhu Naksha, as it is called, has a repository of all the cadastral maps of the country. Other movement that happened was digitization of all the record of rights. Now, record of rights, as the English word, has so many connotations, khatiyan, jamabandi, and so on and so forth. That's basically textual and numerical record. So who is the owner, who and how much does he own, and what are the cadastral maps which are owned. That is what is called record of rights. So all the record of rights, which are basically tabular formats, and there's so much variation. I just saw we're having a committee to look at all the record of rights. There is a record of rights in a state of 6 columns. There is a record of rights in a state of 37 columns. So it is as complicated as that. So every state has a different phenomena. A lot of columns are towards agriculture. We talk about irrigated land, non-irrigated land, because the idea of creation of record of rights and cadastral maps, whether during the Mughal time by Todarmal or by the Britishers, was basically to generate revenue. The idea was not to look at ownership or possession. That was incidental. The idea was to measure what the land is, whether it is irrigated or non-irrigated, what grows on that land, and how much is the revenue that could be collected from this piece of land. I used that a lot in my last posting as in the National Disaster Management Authority. But these two have been great work. Almost 98% of the record of rights have been digitized in the country. The similar amount of cadastral maps, which are of good quality, have been digitized. Now, the problem is of bad quality maps and the problem of non-cadastral. We are just having a discussion with UP just before this. I logged in here. They have 12,000 villages without a map. So 12,877 villages in Uttar Pradesh, they don't have a map. They never created a map. Map has been lost a long time back. So those are non-cadastral areas. A lot of areas in Assam are non-cadastral. Almost whole of Northeast is non-cadastral, never measured on the ground zero. So for the areas that have been measured and textural records created and numerical records created, they have all been digitized. Now, what do you do with all these old land records? You put them in a compactor, put it in a safe location in all the tehsils of the country, and those are called modern record rooms. The progress of modern record room has also been phenomenal. The records have been indexed, digitized, put into safe zones, because now that the whole thing is digital, you don't require these records to come out all the time. They have been preserved. We also just launched a program with the National Archives of India to look at what are the good quality of documents that needs to be preserved for longer durations, and what after digitization could just be destroyed. Why keep everything in the modern record room? So that we have agreement now with the National Archives of India. We have also hired a few consultants to look at how do we preserve very valuable documents and how do we destroy things that are not required. We keep most of them with the fear of judicial courts asking for the original records. They not believe in the digital records, but that's the idea. So 3 components, record of rights, digitization and computerization, cadastral maps digitized and vectorized, both of them interlinked. A lot of states are moving in that direction. So that is the progress we have happened. MRR have been created, all the physical records have been put there. Now, having done that, later part of the NLMP program and DLP program went into under the Dunn secretary. They realized that registration is a very important parameter of land records. Although you could register a marriage with the registrar, but a lot of property, whether land or anything above the land, flat or apartment or a shop, is being registered. So very later part, almost 10 years, a decade later, after the NLMP program was launched, registration department was included in the program. So currently, almost similar figures, around 96, except some states which are laggards. 95% of the state, 95% of the states, registration department has been totally computerized, has been digitized. So you can take a date and an online time slot for your work. So that is a great progress. Although yesterday I was appearing before a standing committee, and the doubt was that these offices are rented buildings, the offices are dilapidated. You have a great system within this building, but anyway. So SRO offices digitization has been a great success. We also have a national platform called NGDRS, in which we maintain a dashboard and an API and a database of all the states. So we know how many registries are happening in the country. So registration department also became computerized and digitized. Thereafter, you look at the incidentals. I call them incidentals. So you have a core GIS software. Some of the states have amazing GIS labs where they interpret maps. We also had, in those days, established state level data centers in all the states. So where do you keep the data? And land is a state subject. We don't have a national repository of land. So anybody believes that in this building or in Delhi we have a repository in which all the land records are available, that's not the true situation. Every state has a state level data center. We also supported PMU, we supported cells and training programs in those cells in the training institutions, various ATIs and all that. So if I'm not missing any of them, this is the main journey that happened. Thereafter, we went into Aadhaar linkage and all that, which also started, and georeferencing and ULPIN generation, two important points that evolved 5 years back. So it was also realized that if you look at a land record, it will say such and such district, such tehsil, such Kanungo, such Patwari, such village. And in the village, you have to find for a particular name. And then you get a record of that person's ownership, ROR or cadastral map, both. So it was decided that every land in this country, every land parcel, not land, every land parcel in the country should have a unique identity. And that is like a 14-digit number. So 6 digits for the latitude, 6 for the longitude, and 2 digits for the height. Now, around 28 crores currently without subdivision. I'll come to that topic a bit later. But without subdivision, there are almost 28 crore land parcels in the country. Around 14 crore land parcels have been georeferenced by satellite imagery, and unique numbers have been generated for those land parcels. So that progress is also happening quite quickly. Now, this is the success story. This is the kind of success story. What we realized in the last, not that I don't know about the predecessors, but we realized after the new team changed in DLR that these are all separate work that happened and good work that happened. But we forgot to interlink all of them together. So now our emphasis on some point which I'll hide. So one emphasis that for a lot of urban areas in the country, registration is the only land record that people have. And registration document is only a buyer-seller agreement that the government has witnessed as per the Registration Act 1908. Now, these registration documents are extremely valuable because at a lot of point of time, this is the only ownership document if you're living in an urban area or peri-urban area. So registration system, online system should be linked with the land record system. Now, this is our new impetus, and a lot of states are moving very quickly. Madhya Pradesh has totally integrated land record with registration system. So the moment you want to buy a particular piece of land, the moment registrar opens the system or you open a system, the ROR and the cadastral map automatically gets embedded into the registration document. And the moment the registration process is complete and the SRO is fine with the registration and he registers the document is transferred to the tehsil office for auto mutation in the land records. So this marriage of registration department with the land record department is extremely critical, which is the important impetus for us right now. The second thing that we realized is all the cadastral maps in the country, when you have a mutation of a land or a flat or apartment, the record of rights are updated across the country very quickly. If you deem so, there's a backlog. There is a backlog of registrations which have not led to mutations. There's a backlog of mutations that have not been reflected in the cadastral maps. So two huge backlogs are which we are trying to target now, which is a difficult journey, but there's a backlog. So you will have your name updated in the record of rights in the textual records, but similar reflection will not happen on the cadastral map. Cadastral maps currently in the country, depending on state to state, is frozen by 70 years or 50 years or 30 years, and some states 100 years. The cadastral maps have not been updated at all, and that's a huge problem. So you know that in a particular this room that I'm sitting in, you have a piece of land, you have ownership of 1/4 of this room, but where is this 1/4 located is extremely difficult to put on the map because the maps have not been updated. So a large emphasis now in this phase of DLMP program is next year onwards and this year onwards is how do you do a complete survey and resurvey of all the land records, all the land parcels, and either make this subdivision happen or various states are following different phenomena. I can name a state and tell you what is happening there. Andhra Pradesh has gone to position-based ownership. So you make a drone fly, take out all the burns of the agricultural land, send a team below with rovers, and then asks people that this is your land and this is your brother's land, and then give the ownership on the property card to that particular person, and forget about putting up those ORI sheets onto the cadastral maps. That's the journey of Andhra Pradesh. That's the journey that Assam is taking with some modifications of putting cadastral maps below the ORI sheets. But this would be the futuristic integration of land records with registration system, scanning and metadata creation of all the land records, all the orders of land records, all the mutation orders, all the registration orders. A registration document is 30 to 40 page document. All of them, we are encouraging the states to scan, create a metadata, make the registration document not available to the government, but also to every citizen. Searchable, downloadable, a legally valid piece of document. Registration is a legally valid piece of document, except registration documents which are protected because of third party. So my will would be protected and should not be diverged till the time I extinguish from this planet. But that is an important movement. So putting all this database onto searchable platform, being sure that these are digitally downloadable, being sure that these are QR coded, being sure that this could be produced in a court of law, whether it is land record documents or it is registration documents, is a new phenomena, is a large phenomena we're getting into, and we are incentivizing them. I'll come to that towards the last 5 minutes of my talk. So this is important. The second is we are also aware that there is an AgriStack program in the country which is trying to find on the same land records who is the farmer and where is his farm. So farm ID and farmer ID. So we are in consonance, and we are with the Ministry of Agriculture. We are working in tandem that please go ahead and find the farmer and the farm and what he's growing on that farm. But incidentally, also integrate the Aadhaar number on the AgriStack document. Also integrate the Aadhaar into the record of rights. That is the third one. The fourth is important thing that we have gone into is when the agricultural land is converted to non-agricultural land, NA, normally it is in normal parlance, it is called NA. So when it is conversion, after conversion, 1 acre land becomes 300 plots. And it is extremely difficult on a traditional piece of cloth or butter paper to maintain 300 plots of land within 1 acre of land, which is a small dimension of land on the cadastral map. Now that is a challenge. So for the urban areas and peri-urban areas, that was a silent sector for a pretty long time. We have launched a new program called Naksha. We are trying to do urban land record generation in 150 towns and cities in the country. Everything is available on the DLR website. We will also be activating a lot of social media platforms now. But all these orders, all the documents, all the cities that we have taken, how much area they have, how much population they have, is all online. For the interest of all the participants who are attending offline or online, for the urban land records, everything is coming on the DLR website. Now, in these 150 towns and cities in 28 states in the country which have volunteered to participate in the program, we are looking at building up a GIS software end-to-end, which digests the ORI sheets, we digest the cadastral maps if there are any in Raipurs and Chennai's, which have cadastral maps. Other cities, Delhi, where I am sitting, has no ROR or cadastral map for the city, except registration document. The whole city is surviving on registration document, which is fine. But there's no geospatially enabling of those registration document. So that would be important to do. We will be flying drones or drones with 2D nadir cameras, drones with oblique cameras, and drones with LiDAR and oblique camera, because we are not sure. And Survey of India or anybody internationally, we just had an international conference on urban survey and resurvey, and the confusion is prevalent across the world as to what technology will be the best to create a baseline system of generation of urban land record, and also a GIS software that digests all the document that's already available. There might be a layout plan of your land, there would be a registration document of your land, there might be property tax that you pay on that piece of land, there might be inheritance document, there might be a decree of the court, there might be a deed document. All these documents should be, and the ORI sheet. And if you have a record of right and cadastral map for the urban area, like Raipur has or Chennai has or Guwahati has, you will have to digest that record of rights also. And then produce something. I say always that you should produce two answers: who is the owner and what is his ownership area spatially. And we will go vertically also in this phenomena. And wherever the states have gone ahead and done this, we are not the first one to do it, but they did for property tax perspective. Raipur, Guwahati, Bhopal is doing right now. They've all, the property taxation has become more robust. It has become 3 times or 4 times or 10 times the value that they're getting right now. And the change detection model becomes very important. 10 years later, or 5 years later, or 2 years later, when you have a repeated survey, you find what the building changes are happening in the city. This phenomenon is particularly important in the peri-urban areas of growing cities. Majestic growth is happening all across. Agricultural lands are being converted quickly, and flats and apartments are being built. So Maharashtra, Gujarat, and Goa, 3 states which maintain city survey records. Bombay has, Pune has, Ahmedabad has. I visited the states. So they had traditionally, in British time, a whole department of city survey. Although the city survey department and the property tax department, I think there's still marriage to happen between these two departments, and data should flow from each other. But that is the phenomena we're getting into. The last point, in the 20 minutes that Pranav had given me, I'm just timing my speech for the 20 minutes and not bore the participants. The last thing that we did is that a scheme, land being a state subject, we can't force things on the state government. So a scheme of the government of India would be easier to implement if you incentivize reforms happening. And we're writing the reforms for the next year also. And the Honorable Finance Minister had 2 sets of incentives program, and that is 5,000 crore rupees each. So there's a 5,000 crore rupees program for the rural land records modernization and all the things that I told. I don't want to repeat. So you integrate systems, you make systems online, you make systems paperless, and every system should have an impact on the other system. I'm not going to blockchain right now, but if you did this and if you have non-cadastral villages, you please, any ROR, any map, any information with the government should be downloadable by the citizen. You don't need to go to the Tahsil office to get it stamped. A private citizen of the country should not meet a government officer as the kind of input. So 5,000 crore rupees is the incentive depending on the size of the state. And we are reviewing that. In fact, I've got the incentive document from all the states of the country. We are reviewing that and trying to figure out how much we will incentivize. And that's driving the program very quickly because states want to capitalize on that. And that program is under CAPEX program. So there's an untied fund. So you can do a particular work and use for your own capital infrastructure. If you do subdivision and cadastral map complete for large state like Bihar or UP, you get 1,000 crore rupees to Secretary of Finance who can use it on capital assets. Similarly, 5,000 crore rupees we have incentivized for urban land records, which are important to get into fully. So there's a program called Naksha, which implements urban land records in 150 cities in the country. We want to do for all the 4,912 urban local bodies in the country eventually after learning from 1 year and looking at how the program behaved and how politically, bureaucratically, citizen-centric, how did the whole thing evolve, how effective it was, and how it has helped urban planning and urban property tax generation. We have also incentivized the urban land record program. So if you have an ORI sheet and you have extracted all the features of all the building footprint in the town by flying your own drones or by flying drones through the Survey of India, we give you a certain amount of money per city depending on the population of the city. If you have started doing ground truthing, a lot of states are doing ground truthing right now. Andhra Pradesh, 10 cities are. I was having a meeting 3 o'clock with the urban secretary. So they are already moving in 10 cities and trying to do urban ground truthing. If you do ground truthing and publish the maps for hearing objections from the people, if there are any, regarding ownership, regarding shape of the area, regarding the total area that they hold and all that, we incentivize that. So we are also engaging with all the industry partners. We presume that we can't do this work, technology portion. So we are engaging with all the industry partners. We're also trying to look at all the international possibilities that are there and engaging with all the people who know about land administration. Parallelly, we are working on revising the Registration Act 1908, making it more pragmatic, more contemporary, more talking about, because honorable courts read the Registration Act, say where it is written that it should be integrated with land record, where it is written that SRO would apply mind about, he should blindly register. There's a buyer, there's a seller who looks at value of the, how much is his ownership, how much is his share. This is not provided in the Act. So we are providing all that in the Act. Hope the Parliament passes it. So Registration Act 1908 is under revision right now. We have the zero draft available with us. We are also looking at how do you make a national land repository system. So all this complicated record of rights with 32 columns should have talked about only 10 columns or 12 columns across the country. And we can fetch those data and you can, and making the boundaries of language go blank. So we are looking at if you have a ROR or cadastral map in Tamil Nadu or Agartala, if you can download in any language in the country, it would be amazing for ease of living, also for ease of business. We're also looking at complicated revenue acts in the country. That's the most difficult thing we are getting into. We can't force the states to change, but surely next year we'll have a large incentive program to make sure that the states reduce the hierarchy of normal mutation. I am selling a land, I have the complete ownership. Pranav is buying the piece of land, but the mutation takes years. It provides timelines, but any mutation case or any ownership change case or any of these civil revenue court cases takes years and years. The biggest fear or biggest hobby of people in the small Mufassal towns is go to a court, go to a Tahsil court or a SDM court and spend years together. SDMs don't have time anyway today. So we're trying to look at how the Revenue Act and revenue manuals and these documents and these processes and the hierarchy could be smoothened. A lot of states are moving very quickly and trying to make sense of process re-engineering and not being frozen and 100 years back. So these are some of the important issues we are handling in the DOLR, and we are working on this. So that's all from my side to the organizers. And if there are any questions, they could be asked. Otherwise, that's all I had to say, if I remember correctly. Thank you so much.